I hope the screen is visible to everyone. If it is not, please let me know. Please confirm me if the screen is visible to everyone. So where are the rest of the guys? Are we having class in another channel or it's like you all are really late? So where are others? Meanwhile, everyone is joining. Let's have a recap of what we did yesterday in this new slide. We started with writing and we understood that what is writing. Every symbol is not a part of writing until and unless that is common in between us and it is in a readable form. Then we have learned that there are three main purposes for which everyone writes. That could be entertainment, information, or persuasion. Rest of the guys are coming slowly, slowly. Okay, let them. Meanwhile, we are having recap. Then we had activity where we saw that books can have the purpose of information, and advertisement is having the purpose of persuasion, and the jokes has the purpose of entertainment. So then we discussed can a selection have two purposes, and then we concluded that it can have more even. So we wrote two examples for each. Then we discussed types of writing. We have learned that there are four types of writing. Number one is expository. Number two is narrative writing. Number three is persuasive and argumentative writing. And number four is expressive and reflective writing. Today we will be starting with expository writing, and expository writing is really interesting to learn. And as I told you that this is one of my most favorite topics to teach because I believe since childhood we had been writing, and this is the only topic which makes us realize that if we were writing something, what was its purpose and what was its kind. So this slide is one of my most favorite. Let me see if we most of us are here. All right, we are 16 over there, and that's good to go. Let's start with expository writing. So, do you have any idea of expository writing? And many of you were saying yesterday that yes, they know expository writing. So, what do you mean by expository writing? Or can you break down this word expository and then can you let me know what would it be all about? Do you have any idea of expository? Please do not copy and paste from anywhere. Do not look here and there. If you know, please let me know. If you don't know, please write it down that you don't know. Instead of copying and pasting from anywhere else, please write you don't know. No idea about it. Okay. So there are different ways of writing about certain things. Expository is one of them. This says that expository writing, that is called exposition, is a type of written form that is used to explain, describe, give information, or inform. In expository writing, we expose things. What we do, we expose things in different ways. There are different ways of exposing the things, and when we write expository, we are expository means expose the things, explain the things, describe things, and we give information, right? Or we inform them. When you would learn narrative, then you would be able to differentiate between the two very clearly. But for now, we need to understand that when we are talking about expository, expository means when we define or describe something, when we explain something. Now, there are different ways of explaining certain things. So, expository have different types. Expository writing have five subtypes. So, we have five subtypes of expository writing. So, you can expose or explain things in five different ways. And how these five ways are important, I will be explaining when we will be learning them. Because when we are writing any research paper or we are working on to any research, and when we are going to write our research work, definitely we are going to explain or describe what our topic is and what it is all about. So we would need expository writing. Definitely you won't be needing narrative writing, because when you are writing your research paper, you are not going to write any story or you're not going to narrate anything. And most of the times you may not use persuasive, argumentative, right, or reflective, but the only thing which you would be using throughout your research work is expository writing. So it's very important to understand expository very well. So we have different types of expository writing, and the first one is description. You can explain the things by describing them. So the term description means, in this, we describe characteristics, features, and examples, details about how something looks, feels, tastes, smells, makes one feel or sound. So when we write descriptive paragraphs, what we do, we tell about the characteristics of certain things, features, and their examples. Most often, this is linked to how do we sense it. Sense it means how do we feel it, how do we see it, how do we test it, smell it, how do it make us feel, and how does it sound actually. So when we talk about description, we mean characteristics and features. For example, I have taken one example and I'll be just changing it into other transportation. If you want to write a paragraph on transportation, and if it is supposed to be a descriptive paragraph, you would describe what do we mean by transportation. You will write its definition, and in definition, what you would be doing, you would be telling about the characteristics and the features of transportation, that what one means by transportation, and its examples. In the same way, if, for example, we are taking a research topic, that attitudes of people towards soaps and face washes. So when you would be writing about this research topic, definitely you would be describing that what do you mean by a soap, and what do you mean by a face wash, and what do you actually mean by attitude. So you would be describing the terms, right? We use description in order to describe the terms, to let someone know what are the characteristics of it, what are the features of it. Every even essay you had been writing, like the cow and my best friend, the teacher, education system, all those were descriptive essays where you were describing the things, you were having characterizations of those things. Even though you were writing an essay in my school, what you were doing into it, you were just describing the characteristics and features of a school, that how it looks like, right? How it makes you feel, or what is the idea of the school. So I hope description is clear. If it is not, please let me know. And if you have any questions, please ask me. I'll be changing transportation heading so that you can understand well. And meanwhile, I'll be giving you even more examples. So if the term description is clear, please let me know. Or if you have any question regarding description, please ask. You can explain the things by describing them, right? And this is how you describe. I want everyone to let me know if the description term is clear or not. Okay, I'm repeating it. When you explain the things or you write expository writing, there are five different ways of writing expository writing. Number one is descriptive. You can explain the things by describing them. When we write description, how do we do it? We write characteristics, features, and examples. For example, if you are going to write on my school, how would you write descriptive essay on my school? You would be telling us what are the characteristics, what are the features. You would be giving example. You would be telling us know that how it feels, how it looks like. So all those characteristics and features, when you use in order to explain something, describe something, that is called a descriptive kind of essay or descriptive kind of paragraph or descriptive kind of writing. You can write descriptive paragraphs, you can write descriptive essays. I hope the term descriptive is clear now. If you have any question, please let me know. 06 and 52, if it is clear, let me know. If you have any question, please ask. All right. Then the next we have sequence. You can either explain the things by describing them or telling them into a sequence. For example, this says that items or events in numerical or chronological order. Numerical means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chronological means in the order they have happened, right? For example, we have transportation and descriptive. So how can we write a sequence paragraph onto transport? We can write history of transport. So when you would be writing history of transport, you won't be writing that everything was not created, but an aeroplane was created. Definitely, when you would be writing history of transport, you would be writing one by one that ab initio a wheel was created, and after wheel a cart was created. After cart, a donkey cart was created, and after donkey cart, a car was created. After the car, train was created. Right? When you would be talking about the history of transportation, what you would be writing, you would be writing it into a sequence, right? You would be writing in a chronological order in the way it has evolved or it has got certain boom into its history. Then let us see a different topic. If you are going to write, okay, the best examples of sequence writing is the recipe writing. When you would be writing a recipe, you won't be writing it as I have already told you. If you are going to write on how to cook chicken, you won't be writing now the chicken is ready, now cut the onion. So you would be writing into a chronological order in the way it happens, right? That first of all, you need these ingredients, then you need to cut onion first, then you need to take oil, then you need to fry them, then you need to cut tomatoes, and then you need to add them. You need to wait so that the mashup is ready. Then you have to add the spices. See, when you would be writing about this, you would be writing into the sequence, right? If somebody asks you to tell us that how was your journey from the childhood till your adolescence, so you won't be writing up. I first I grew up, then I was born. Definitely, you know, I was born in this year, and this happened, and then this happened. So everything that is described in sequence or in numerical order, that is called that is called sequence. History of even Pakistan, right? That can be a part of a sequence writing. You may even write a paragraph or essay onto it, because when you would be talking about the history of Pakistan or the how Pakistan came into being, you won't be writing that on 1947 Pakistan came into being and in 2001 this is happening. Definitely, you would be starting from in 1932 this happened, then in 1940 this happened, then in 1946 this happened. So whenever we write any paragraph or essay in a sequence or in chronological order, that is called sequence writing. I hope sequence writing is clear. For example, is this is the best example which I have been transforming. Transport, simply transport. In transport, what would be doing? We would be writing what do we mean by transport and what are the examples of transport. Then, if we are going to write sequence on transport, then we'd be writing history of transport, that how transport has evolved throughout the history. So I hope this sequence is clear. If it is not, please let me know. If sequence is clear, please let me know. If it is not, please write your questions. All those who are not writing, if it is clear, please let me know if you have any questions. All those who are not writing that whether it is clear or not, please let me know if you have any questions. So how it relates to your research when you would be writing your research process, definitely you write your research procedure. When you will be writing your research procedure, in research procedure, you would be using sequence. You would be letting us know one by one that first of all, I went to certain place and then I administered my questionnaire. Students filled out my questionnaire and then I analyzed my data. Then this happened. Even though when you are writing your research, so that you write into a sequence, right? Chronological means in the way it happens, right? By a sequence. Like one thing happens first, then second thing, then third thing, then fourth thing. Chronological means in the order something has happened. So in research writing, you would be writing your research procedure into sequence form. Then how did you conduct your research, or how did you analyze your data? How do you collect your data? All these things are supposed to be written in sequence. So if we are to write just characteristics and features, we would be writing in a descriptive form. But if we have to describe certain thing into a chronological or numerical order, then we have to write into a sequence form. Must we will write description in sequence, such characteristics, feature, example. No, why would we write description and feature? These are two different ways of writing. For example, as I have given you example of transportation, when you will be writing a sequence essay on or sequence paragraph on transportation, you will be writing history of transportation, right? In history of transportation, we won't be writing characteristics or examples, right? But when we are describing things, we are writing descriptive. For example, we will be writing on transportation, we'll be writing what do we mean by transportation and what are examples of transportation. In that, we are not going to write any history, how this transportation has evolved. We are not writing, evolution of transportation. So that is not sequence. When you are just describing what do you mean by transportation and what are its examples, that is descriptive. But when you are writing that how history of transportation has evolved, that is called sequence. There are two different ways of writing on even one topic. You can expose, or you can write expository on transportation as descriptive. You can write expository on on transportation as in sequence. 52, I hope it is clear. Let me know if it is clear so that we can move ahead. Descriptive and sequence are two different ways of writing. Then we have comparison and contrast. In comparison and contrast, what do? We write similarities and differences in order to explain certain things. This is the third way of explaining things. As we have written transport in descriptive, right? And then history of transport in sequence. Then we have comparison and contrast, where we see similarities and differences in order to explain the things. So we have example new and old methods of transportation. In new and old methods of transportation, what we'd be doing, we would be finding similarities and differences, and we would be explaining the term transportation in terms of similarities and differences. For example, if you have in your research writing, you are comparing and contrasting the uses of face wash as comparison to soap. So definitely when you would be writing the uses of soap and the face wash, you would be writing it into comparison and contrast form. You may write paragraph or you may write essays on comparison and contrast where you would be finding similarities and differences. So when you would be writing on face wash and this soap, and you would be writing comparison and contrast, definitely you would be looking at the similarities and differences in order to prove your stance. And as I have given you the example, transportation, history of transportation, new and old methods of transportation. Even you can compare and contrast difference between land and air transportation, or sea and air transportation, or sea or land transportation. You can even find differences and similarities between different aspects. So when you write the things and you compare and contrast them, that is called comparison and contrast, and that is the third way of explaining the things, writing expository. So if comparison and contrast is clear, please let me know. If you have any question regarding this, please ask. If you have any question regarding comparison and contrast, please ask. If it is clear, let me know too. इंस्टीड ऑफ राइटिंग मैम दोबारा समझाएं, अपने क्वेश्चंस लिखा करें कि आपको उसमें क्या समझ नहीं आया है, because there are a lot of students who understand this, right? Then it becomes monotonous for them. There are different ways of writing expository writing, right? Or explaining the thing. You can explain things by comparing and contrasting them, means finding similarities and differences between them. For example, we have new and old methods of transportation. So when we would be writing new and old methods of transportation, definitely we are not going to define what is transportation, or even we won't be writing it into a sequence. What we would be doing, we would be saying the differences and similarities between the new and old methods of transportation. Even though if we are just seeing land and sea transportation, so we would be looking at the differences and the similarities, that what are the similarities and difference between the land and the sea transportation. So this is another way of explaining the things. Comparison and contrast means finding differences, and comparing means we compare them, and contrast them means we see similarities and differences. For example, as I told you, that new and old methods, so we would be comparing that what are new methods, what are old methods, and we'll be contrasting them, seeing similarities and differences. Contrast is not a different term. Comparison and contrast is one term, right? And comparing and contrasting means you are finding similarities and differences. This is very simple, that you would be comparing two things and you'd be looking at the differences and the similarities between the two. That to what extent they are similar and to what extent they are different. If you have still any question in comparison and contrast, please let me know. All right, so I hope that it's clear to everyone. Let's move ahead. Then we have cause and effect, causes and the resulting effect. When we say cause and effect, so we are just interested in what are the causes of certain things and what are the effects of those things. We have the example over here: traffic and its effects, pollution and transport. So in traffic and its effects, see, in descriptive, we have the term transport, and then in sequence, history of transport, and then in comparison and contrast, new and old methods of transport. When we are to write cause and effect, in cause and effect, definitely we won't be writing history of transport. We won't be writing new and old methods of transport. So we have traffic and its effects. Definitely, these two terms are related to transport. So traffic and its effects. So in this, we would be writing causes of traffic and its effects on our normal life or day-to-day life. Then we have pollution and transport. Then we'd be writing that what are the causes of pollution due to transport and how it affects the environment or our health, right? In the same way, if you are researching on Tetra Pak milk or the milk that comes in a packing form, you may write that what are the causes of picking it and how it affects the health. You may write onto different chemical procedures that what are the causes that they are being carried out and what are the effects of those chemical reactions. You can write cause and effect into your research by selecting your appropriate topics. Your topics may be of the causes and effects. You may be interested in what are the causes of food poisoning and how it affects the body or how it affects the mind. So being chemical engineer, right, you may choose any topic and you may choose their causes and the effects. So when we talk about the cause, that means we are interested in what is causing it and if it is happening, what are its results or what how it affects. So I hope the example in terms of that transport is clear that what are the causes of traffic and how it affects and what are the causes of pollution that is created by transport and what are its effects. I hope the term cause and effect is clear. If it is not, please write your queries. Can we take more than one way of writing? Yeah, that is so much obvious that you can take more than one. This is not like you are stuck to just one type. This is to understand that you can explain one thing into different ways, right? Is I am explaining transport into different ways. Example of soap and face wash, I'm giving you every time when there is a different heading, even cause and effect sequence, right? So whatever it is, you can write. Even though if your first paragraph is descriptive, your second paragraph can be comparison and contrast. Your third paragraph can be cause and effect. My motto is not to let you know that you can write either in one way or two way. The cause of teaching you is this: you should know that there are different ways of explaining things, and this is how we explain the things. And this is not for the first time that we are just knowing these types of writing. We already know this, and we have been writing it. But this is the time we are realizing that yes, these are the types, or these are the subheadings of certain types, or expository is a term, and these are all terms, and the which we are writing. And we have been writing all these things. We have been writing causes and effects. We have been writing similarities and differences. But today we have come to realize that yes, these are the types of writing, and yes, we have been writing these types. Please let me know if cause and effect is clear, or if you have any question, please write it down. If you have any question, please write it down. And if it is clear, please let me know. All right, so let's move ahead. Then we have problem and solution. The other way of explaining things is to write a problem and one or more solutions to it. We have been writing about the problems and the solutions. So this is also a way of explaining things that you explain the problem and its solution. For example, we have traffic and its modern way out. So in comparison to all those transport headings, we have traffic and its modern way out. So the problem is traffic. We will be explaining what is our problem and we would be providing solutions. That is its modern way out. Another topic that is related to transport is accidents and save your life. So we would be writing into that how accidents happen and why are they a problem, and we would be providing solutions that how one can save his or her life from accidents. Even though, for example, if acne is a problem, a research paper onto acne and its problem. So acne is a problem, you would be defining it that this is a problem, and then you would be providing solutions on the basis of your research. For example, in computers, virus is the problem. So you would be explaining virus and you will be providing that these are the softwares one can use in order to get rid of virus. So those are the solutions. So the final way of writing, this is the last one, that how you can explain the things. So the first is descriptive, then we have sequence, then we have comparison and contrast, then we have cause and effect, and the last one is problem and solution. You can also explain the things by writing the problem and their solutions. So even though if you are taking hard water, in a chemical terms, hard water has different properties. So you are taking the problem hard water and its effects, or what is the solution to it. So you can write your research even on hard water and the solution to it. That would be counted in the terms of problem and solution. That hard water is a problem and you are providing solution to it. So I hope that this is clear and the problem and solution. If it is not, please let me know. Write down your questions so that I can answer them. Write down your answers. Write down your questions regarding problem and solution so that I can answer. Chart and graph, yes, you can use an expository writing at any instance to show. You can use in order to show description. You can use in order to show sequence. You can use in order to show problem solution. Wherever it fits, wherever it deems right, you can use it. Chart and graphs, they are visualizations, and we are not concerned about visualization right now. All we are concerned about here is the writing and its form. We have learned, there are different purposes of writing, and we are very much clear about them. Now we need to understand then how writing is written into the different forms and what are the different forms of writing that we have been using, and we don't realize that yes, we have been using into these categories. Let me know if everyone is clear about these 5 types. Let me know if you are all clear about these types. There are 30 people in the meeting, and there are only 4 who are saying that, okay, it's clear. If everyone is not clear, please write down your questions. All right, so let's work. This says select any descriptive topic and develop headings for rest of the types. Is I selected transport and then I changed the headings into rest of the types. In the same way, you have to select any descriptive topic and then please change it into rest of the topics. Is I chose descriptive topic transport and then I change into history of transport, land and sea transport, and then I chose pollution and effect, pollution and its solution. So in the same way, you have to select one descriptive topic and then you have to change the same topic, the same sense into rest of the headings. I hope my instructions are clear. If you are stuck anywhere, please let me know. Is I selected one descriptive heading and then I transformed it into different headings, into four rest of the 4 headings. In the same way, you have to choose one heading and then you have to transform it into rest of the headings. I hope the instructions are clear. Please start working. If you have any question regarding instructions, please write it down. Can you please confirm if the screen is visible? Okay, descriptive cricket, history of cricket, comparison and contrast, old and new formats of cricket. Please write rest of the two, cause and effect and problem and solution too. All right, if it is visible, then it's fine. Quickly write your heading. This can be your question and examination. I may give you any descriptive topic and ask you to develop rest of the four headings. This may be your examination question even. Or I may give you certain paragraph and ask you to let me know which type of paragraph or which type of writing is that. Please do not write social media into one message and then please write everything into one message and then send please. Okay, so extraction of caffeine from tea leaves. So extraction of caffeine from tea leaves is sequence or what? Where is descriptive heading? Row number 52, where is descriptive heading? Sequence of extraction of caffeine. So extraction of caffeine from tea leaves, ultimately, we don't write that this is a sequence. Heading ही हमें बता देगी कि ये sequence की heading है, right? So extraction of caffeine from tea leaves. That's the heading and we can understand that this would be in sequence. Then comparison of caffeine and tannin in tea leaves. So don't write comparison of, just write caffeine and tannin in tea leaves, right? And that is understood. Causes and effect of caffeine. So we don't write causes and effects of caffeine, right? You have to develop your heading in the way that ऐसा ना लगे कि किसी बच्चे ने लिखा है या as it is आपने जो है heading और cause and effect की heading उसमें डाल दी है. Or to extract it from at least. Roll number 52, please rewrite it. आपने जो है उन चीजों को उसमें डाल when I was writing comparison and contrast, did I write that I'm comparing and contrasting old and new methods? No. You have to write it in a way that the one who just reads your heading can understand that in this paragraph you're going to compare and contrast, or you're going to write in sequence, or you're going to write problem and solution or cause and effect. You don't have to write it into your heading in order to make someone understand, right? You just have to write heading in a sense that one who's reading it can understand that what is inside the paragraph or essay. Okay, so biryani का तो मार खाओगे भाई. Okay, so biryani. See, when we say biryani, we can understand that that is going to be descriptive, that the person has described what is biryani, right? And then when we talk about recipe of biryani, so we know that someone has written it into the sequence. Biryani and pulao, so we can know that there is a difference and similarities between biryani and pulao. See, See, Saad hasn't written that we are going to compare and contrast. But when I'm reading it, biryani and pulao, I can understand there is comparison and contrast, right? So, excess eating and food poisoning. Wonderful. I can understand that this is about causes and effect, that excessive eating is the cause and food poisoning is the effect, right? Hungry, eat biryani. Wow, wow, wow. See, what a solution to it. The problem is being hungry, and then the solution is eat biryani. Wonderful. Now, this is something I've loved actually. अब मुझे बिरयानी कौन खिलाएगा? Right. So, descriptive is water shortage. Fine. As sequence, dams and supply. How could it dams and supply be sequence? Can you please explain it? Similarities, how to use it on supplies. How to use it is not a similarity. How to use it, how to use it. Causes and effect, why this happened to this era, not previous time. See, when you are writing why this happened to this era, not previous time, आपने जिंदगी में कभी ऐसी हेडिंग देखी है जहां पर ऐसा लिखा हुआ हो कि पूरी कहानी लिखी हुई है, कोई रो रहा है कि why this happened this time? You don't have to write it कि क्या हुआ, आपने एक्सप्लेन नहीं करना, आपने हेडिंग को ही इस तरह से लिखना है कि आपकी जो हेडिंग है उसको पढ़कर ही लग जाए जिस तरह से साथ में लिखा है, राइट? इन द सेम वे आपने क्या करना है, चीजों को इस तरह से लिखना है, उसमें एक्सप्लेन थोड़ी ना ये रो तू बंदा बन के लिखना है कि व्हाई दिस हैपेंड टू दिस एरा नॉट प्रीवियस टाइम। वाटर शॉर्टेज प्रॉब्लम्स, ठीक है, तो उसमें जब आप लिख रहे हैं वाटर शॉर्टेज प्रॉब्लम्स, तो दिस इज लाइक आप सिर्फ वाटर शॉर्टेज प्रॉब्लम्स लिख रहे हैं, उनको आप डिस्क्राइब कर रहे हैं, आप उसका सॉल्यूशन दे रहे हैं, उसका यहाँ पर कोई जिक्र नहीं है। Okay, education and way of teaching. See, way of teaching, how can way of teaching be in sequence? It can't be in sequence, right? Way of teaching needs to be described. It needs to be in descriptive ways of teaching, that how many ways of teaching are there. Or you can even compare and contrast them. So we can't write way of teaching. Yes, you can write the history of education, or how education has evolved, so you can write such into sequence, comparison and contrast, primary system and higher education system teacher. That's wonderful. Cause and effect, unauthorized teacher, lack of knowledge for students. See, it seems like that you are explaining everything into the heading. ठीक है, कॉज एंड इफेक्ट आप बता रहे हैं, कॉज क्या है, अनऑथोराइज टीचर है, लेक ऑफ नॉलेज फॉर स्टूडेंट्स, उसका इफेक्ट है। आप उसको इस तरह से ले आए कि इसमें ना लगे कि आप पूरी, जब एक बंदे को पता है आपने वही हेडिंग में डाल दिया है, तो व्हाई वुड समबडी रीड इट? यू डोंट हैव टू राइट हेडिंग इन सच अ वे कि पूरा आप उसी में बता रहे हैं। अनऑथोराइज टीचर्स को आप अच्छे लफ्जों में भी लिख सकते हैं, एंड लेक ऑफ नॉलेज फॉर स्टूडेंट्स को भी आप कॉम्पैक्ट कर सकते हैं। प्लीज री राइट इट। Okay, descriptive Mughal Empire. Fine. Mughal sequence Mughal Empire. Fine. Each era of Mughal Empire. Why would you be having comparison between each era? Why don't you take two? और कभी अपने हेडिंग जिंदगी में देखिए जहां पे ईच के साथ शुरू हो रही होगी, ईच era of Mughal Empire. Ruling style of each Mughal Empire. Causes and effects. How would you be letting us know that what were the causes and the effects? Description is mobile phone. Fine. Sequence history of mobile phone. Fine. Comparison and contrast. It's not contract, it's contrast. Brand of mobile phone are different. So kabhi heading dekhiye, brand of mobile phones are different. You can even write over Apple versus Samsung or Oppo versus Nokia. I mean, you can write into this way. कभी भी हमारी हेडिंग इस तरह से नहीं होती है, सेंसिबल बने, सेंसिबल हेडिंग्स बनाए, जिस तरह की हेडिंग आप नॉर्मली देखते हैं। Effect on eyesight, causes and effect. So you can write over there mobile phones and eyesight and eyes, right? Or mobile phones and health. So उसको effect on eyesight problems, so effect on eyesight का लिखने से किस चीज का effect कैसा आपको क्लियर नहीं होता concept. Problem and solution, virus. जब आप वायरस सिर्फ लिख रहे हैं, राइट, वायरस एक्सपेक्ट मोबाइल एक्टिव एंटीवायरस सेव मोबाइल, ये कोई हेडिंग नहीं है, ये तो आपने पूरी जो है ना डिस्क्रिप्शन लिख दी है। आपने हेडिंग बनानी है जिसके अंदर में आप इस पे पैराग्राफ या ऐसे लिख सके, आपने पूरे का पूरा जो है ना अपनी हेडिंग में नहीं लिखना है। 06 प्लीज रीराइट दिस। ओके जी। डिस्क्रिप्टिव जनरेशन ऑफ कंप्यूटर। डिस्क्रिप्टिव में अगर आप सिर्फ कंप्यूटर लिखे हैं तो दैट वुड बी मोर इफेक्टिव। जनरेशन ऑफ कंप्यूटर अगर आप सीक्वेंस में लिखे हैं तो वो ज्यादा इफेक्टिव सीक्वेंस में होगा, क्योंकि जनरेशन, फर्स्ट जनरेशन, सेकंड जनरेशन, थर्ड जनरेशन, इट हैज a sequence into it, right? So write computer, that is descriptive, fine, understood that you are going to describe computer, and then generation of computer in sequence. All right, comparison, it's not compression, it's comparison and contrast. Differences between features of old and new computer. So why are you writing that differences between, just write old versus new computer? We will understand that you are going to compare and contrast them. सारी चीजें लिखने की क्या जरूरत है? Where are rest of the two headings? Please write it. Please write rest of the two headings. Okay, descriptive is climate change. Okay, fine. History of climate change. What would you be writing in history of climate change? I mean, climate तो change होता है, वो आपका descriptive है climate change, right? So even though then if you write just on climate, that climate would be your descriptive. Changes in his changes in climate, that could be your sequence, right? History climate कोई ऐसी चीज थोड़ी है जिसकी कोई हिस्ट्री हो, कि पहले क्लाइमेट पैदा हुई, फिर हवा पैदा हुई, फिर हवा गर्म पैदा हुई, फिर ठंडी हवा पैदा हुई. We're gonna say this ना. Okay, world comparison. It's comparison, not compression. Comparison and contrast. World with and without climate change. Okay, that's good. Cause and effect. Effects of climate change. That's wonderful. Problem and solution. How to combat climate change. See, you cannot write into question from how to combat climate change. We can't write it into a way, how to combat. Just write it in a way that when somebody reads it, that person, he or she understand that this is all about a problem and solution regarding the climate. All right, descriptive is fertilizer. Fine. Old age sequence is old age method. When you are saying old age method, that is not a sequence. If you would have been written that the how fertilizers have evolved or evolution of fertilizers, then they would have been the sequence. Old age method, in old age method, how would you be writing? In old age method, how would you be writing, right? Old age method can only be described. We cannot write anything into it. Comparison organic and inorganic, wonderful. Essential nutrients for the plant's growth and economic growth, that's good. Cause and effect includes harmful chemical process. Sorry for changing sequence. That's all okay. Sequence is not a problem. Cause or effect को सही करो. I can't understand it. Roti. Sorry guys, the channels won't understand. Yes. So where were we? Okay. Empire, Ottoman Empire. This is not a sequence of Ottoman Empire because when you are going to describe it, that would be your description, not sequence. Comparison is fine. Wars and Muslim with non-Muslims and creating empire, cause and effect. See, you are telling this a sequence here. Wars of Muslims with non-Muslims and creating empire. Creating, is a process, and process is always a sequence. Tea leaves, okay. Extraction of chemical, okay. Caffeine and cyanide, okay. Excessive intake of caffeine, okay. Baby eat, या अब जिंदगी में कभी बेबी इट कैफीन जो है ना, वो कभी आपने कभी कहाँ सुना है? तो उसको थोड़ा मैच्योर करें. यू डोंट जस्ट हैव टू जस्ट राइट इट डाउन के सारी चीजें पता चले. अपनी हेडिंग को थोड़ा मैच्योर तरीके से लिखें. टॉपिक इज क्लाइमेट चेंज. ओके, description climate change. What is climate change? Waste and then climate change occurs. Okay, cause and effect of climate change, pollution and hot weather. problems and then solution of climate change, shortage of plants and planting trees. Okay. Description mobile phone sequence history of mobile phone comparison as new and old mobile phones cause and effect large usage cause side effect problem. See, we can write large usage causes side effects. Make it more into a good words. Causes of mobile on health or causes of mobile effect of mobile effect of mobiles on eyes or eyesight. Short usage of mobile save your life. Okay. 80, please write all your responses into one single message. All right, this says repeat activity with a new descriptive heading. Now choose another descriptive heading and then in the same way is I have explained much. This time there shouldn't be any mistake, right? Write one descriptive and then your heading, write two sequence, then your heading, write three comparison and contrast, heading four cause and effect, heading, and then five problem and solution and heading. You have to select another descriptive topic and then you have to write it into the same way. Do it quick. As soon I will be getting your responses, I will be marking your attendance. So make sure you do it before 12. Repeat the activity, please. After my repeating the activity segment, जिनका भी मेरे पास आएगा, I'll be marking their attendance. Money, evolution of money, paper money versus digital money, effects of capitalism. Okay, should be aware of different types of scheme of money making. See, your heading cannot be that much long to be aware of different fake scheme of money making. You can even write fake scheme, and that's fine. Descriptive education evolved to online education due to participation. See, you cannot write the entire thing into the heading. कभी आपने heading में कभी जिंदगी में ऐसी heading देखी है कहीं लिखा हुआ हो evolved online education due to pandemic situation. ऐसा नहीं होता। आप लिख सकते हैं न्यू वेज टू एजुकेशन, जिसमें हमें एग्जैक्टली पता चल जाएगा कि आप पुराने से न्यू वेज के लिए डिस्कस कर रहे हैं। मेक श्योर जब हम हेडिंग की बात करते हैं तो हम उसमें सेंटेंसेस नहीं लिखते हैं। हेडिंग्स जितनी भी शॉर्ट हो उतनी ज्यादा अच्छी और बेहतर होती हैं। फिजिकल वर्सेस ऑनलाइन क्लास, दैट्स गुड। नॉन बेनिफिशियल फॉर स्टूडेंट्स, नॉन बेनिफिशियल फॉर स्टूडेंट है। व्हाट वुड कैन वन अंडरस्टैंड? कुछ भी इसमें समझ में नहीं आएगा कि नॉन बेनिफिशियल फॉर स्टूडेंट व्हाट। If you're talking about online class, you need to write it. Effects of online class. So one would understand that you are describing the causes that why we have been taking online class and what the effects. Improvement for the quality education. Okay. Butterfly, caterpillar is a butterfly, fine. Green butterfly and yellow one. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. Causes and effect. What do you mean by in environment? अगर कहीं भी heading लिखी हुई हो in environment, तो आप उससे क्या समझेंगे in environment से? एग्जाम में तो बिल्कुल ऐसे भी ना लिखिएगा, आर बी मार्किंग यू 0 out of 0। एक्चुअली 0.0 दूंगी मैं इस पे। इन एनवायरमेंट इज नॉट एनी काइंड ऑफ हेडिंग एक्चुअली। Yeah, what's that? Okay, control of substance hazardous to health. Sequence. Row number 67 in descriptive, what you would be writing, control of the substance hazardous to health. You would be writing about control or the substance or the health or what? See, you need to be very much particular when you are writing descriptive. Sequence UK 2002. What does that mean in sequence? अगर कहीं पे heading लिखी हुई है UK 2002, what would I understand out of it? Cancer causes, sub and non-cancer. Cancer causes. Safety for workers and avoid harmful substances. Please rewrite them in a proper way. Oil, use of natural oil. Rule number 80, you're going to write two descriptive headings, right? For one for the first activity and two second for the second one. Oil, use of natural oil. यूज ऑफ नेचुरल ऑयल सीक्वेंस कैसे हो गया? व्हेन यू आर सेइंग के हम यूज कर रहे हैं नेचुरल ऑयल को, तो उसमें आप सीक्वेंस कहाँ से लेकर आ रहे हैं? नेचुरल एंड आर्टिफिशियल ऑयल, ओके। अनसेफ ऑफ ह्यूमैनिटी, अनसेफ टू ह्यूमैनिटी। अप्लाइमेंट ऑफ पेनल्टी ऑन आर्टिफिशियल ऑयल सेलर्स, प्रॉब्लम एंड सॉल्यूशन। सी सॉल्यूशन तो आप हेडिंग में ही बता रहे हैं, फिर आप नीचे जो लिखेंगे तो कैसे लोग पढ़ेंगे उसको? Poverty, Pakistan's decreasing per capita income. Okay. Economy of Pakistan and its neighbors. Fine. Corruption and poverty. Wonderful. Poverty and good governance. That's brilliant. See, roll number 16 has written poverty, that we need to understand that yes, जहाँ पर poverty लिखा होगा तो वहाँ पे इसको describe किया है। पाकिस्तान डिक्रीजिंग पर कैपिटा इनकम कैसे डिक्रीज हुई है वो एक सीक्वेंस में बात आएगी, ठीक है जी। उसके बाद इकोनॉमी ऑफ पाकिस्तान एंड इट्स नेबर्स, तो उसमें कंपैरिजन एंड कंट्रास्ट होगा बिकॉज द टू इकोनॉमीज आर बीइंग कंपेयर एंड कंट्रास्ट। एंड देन वी हैव करप्शन एंड पॉवर्टी, राइट। ये कॉज क्या है हमारे पास? करप्शन है, उसका इफेक्ट क्या हो रहा है? पॉवर्टी हो रही है। इसमें कहीं भी लिखा हुआ नहीं है कि कॉजेज ऑफ करप्शन एंड द इफेक्ट इज द पॉवर्टी। हमें हेडिंग तरह से नहीं लिखनी होती। एंड देन पॉवर्टी एंड द गुड गवर्नेंस, राइट। प्रॉब्लम इज द पॉवर्टी एंड द सॉल्यूशन इज गुड गवर्नेंस। सी वन, इफ वन इज रीडिंग इट, खुद ही पता चल रहा है कि कौन सी हेडिंग का क्या मतलब है। इसमें ऐसा तो नहीं लिखा है ना कि poverty is a problem and the solution is good governance. So we don't have to write it into that way that someone who's reading उसको पता ही चले कि सारी कहानी यहाँ पे लिखी हुई है। Poverty and the good governance, or corruption and the poverty, whatever is written in a way, every heading has its own charm into it, right? ये सारी हेडिंग जो है उसमें हमें पता चल रहा है कि कौन सी डिस्क्रिप्टिव है, कौन सी जो है सीक्वेंस में है। Pakistan's decreasing per capita income. Definitely, if something is decreasing, that is into a sequence कि how has it decreased actually. तो जब अब भी हम हेडिंग्स लिखते हैं तो उनको सिर्फ हम हेडिंग्स लिखते हैं, वो पूरी रामलीला हम उसमें नहीं लिखते हैं। Topic plants, planting, descriptive, planting plants. तो planting plants और plants में क्या फर्क दिखाया है? Sequence plants to tree. So sequence plants to tree कैसे होगा? Plant is something else, tree is something else. Plant is short, tree is longer one. You can see seed to plant or seed to tree. You can have it something different. I mean, plants is just the entire term, and the tree is one of the kind. Plants tree में कैसे जाएगा? Cause and effect, planting plants and pleasant weather. Causes and effect. सी ये बच्चों वाली ना बनाए कि प्लांटिंग प्लांट्स एंड प्लीजेंट वेदर, उसको थोड़ा आप इस तरह से बनाएं कि पढ़ने वाले को खुद ही पता चल जाए। प्रॉब्लम एंड सॉल्यूशन, क्लाइमेट चेंज एंड प्लांट्स। प्लांटिंग प्लांट्स लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है, आपने सिर्फ लिखना है ना कि प्रॉब्लम सॉल्यूशन राइट क्लाइमेट चेंज एंड प्लांट्स। वन वुड अंडरस्टैंड यस क्लाइमेट चेंज इज अ प्रॉब्लम एंड प्लांट इज अ सॉल्यूशन। Philosophy, pre-surface to 21st century philosophy, fine. Socialism versus communism, fine. Effect of values in society, very much good. Loopholes and its misuse, fine. Loopholes and its misuse, ठीक है, fine है. Computer, sequence generation of computer, first generation versus fifth generation, cause and effect, causes of using computer. अब causes of using computer क्या होगा? Causes of using computer. आप यूँ लिख सकते हैं साइबर क्राइम एंड इट्स इफेक्ट्स। तो कॉज क्या है? साइबर क्राइम है, ठीक है, और उसका फिर हमें इफेक्ट लिखना है। या प्रॉब्लम में भी आप ये लिख सकते हैं वायरस एंड सॉल्यूशन, यू कैन राइट इनटू मल्टीपल वेज। Okay guys, sorry I have taken 5 more minutes and I was just checking it out. So then see you next week. Till then, take very good care of yourself and then have a good day today and ahead. And please don't forget this sequence expository till next week, because from next week we would be doing narrative and the rest. So see you next week. Till then, bye bye.